The station smelled like rust and engine oil. It always did. Yuna wiped her hands on a dirty cloth and looked at the broken ship in front of her. Another smuggler. Another repair job. Another night alone in the dark. Station Korth 7 floated at the edge of nowhere. It was old. It was forgotten. The lights flickered more than they stayed on. The walls were covered in years of grime and desperate repairs. But Yuna liked it here. Nobody asked questions. Nobody cared about your past. You paid for repairs. You left simple. She was 29 years old. Her hair was black and cut short so it would not get caught in machines. Her hands were rough from years of work. She wore the same gray jumpsuit every day, sleeves rolled up to her elbows. On her left wrist, there was a faded mark, a tattoo that had grown old with her skin. She never talked about it. She never showed it. Yuna had been on this station for 6 years. Before that, she moved from place to place. Before that, she did not like to remember. The night was quiet. Nari had gone to sleep hours ago. Narai was 17, a refugee from one of the outer colonies. She helped Yuna with small tasks and asked too many questions. But she was good company. Better than silence. Yuna was about to close the hangar doors when she heard it. A terrible sound. Metal screaming against metal. She looked up through the dirty window and saw fire cutting across the black sky. A ship, falling, burning. It crashed through the station's outer dock with a sound like thunder. The whole floor shook. Alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. Why? Yuna grabbed her tools and ran. The ship was not human. She knew that immediately. The design was wrong. Too sharp. Too elegant. The metal was silver white, now blackened by fire. Smoke poured from the broken hole. She recognized the design. Veleth. Her feet stopped moving. Her heart went cold. The Veleth were tall. They were pale. They looked almost human, but not quite. Their eyes were too large. Their fingers were too long. They moved like they owned every room they walked into, because for 100 years, they had owned almost everything. The Valeth were the ones who burned Earth. Yuna remembered the stories. Everyone did. A century ago, humans were not scattered across the galaxy like rats hiding in walls. They had a home, a beautiful blue planet called Earth. And then the Veleth came with their warships and their fire. And they burned it all to ash. The Great Purge, they called it. Humans called it something else. They called it the end of everything. Now humans lived in the cracks of the galaxy. On stations like this one, on moons nobody wanted. On ships held together by hope and rust, they were the fallen. The species that almost disappeared, and a Veleth ship had just crashed in her hangar. Yuna should have walked away. She should have let whoever was inside burn. It would have been justice. It would have been right. But credits were credits. And the dead did not need pride. She moved forward. The door of the ship was jammed. She used her cutting tool to slice through the metal. Smoke hit her face. She coughed and pushed inside. He was tall. Even sitting down, bleeding from his head, he was taller than her. His skin was white like paper. His hair was silver, pulled back from his face. He wore armor. Beautiful armor. Black metal with gold lines running through it like veins. The armor was cracked down the center of the chest. Broken badly. His eyes opened. They were pale blue, almost white. He looked at her, human. A small human woman with dirty hands and oil on her face. His lips curled in disgust. You, he said. His voice was deep, cold. A human. Yes, Yuna said. Can you walk? He tried to stand. He failed. His leg was damaged. Maybe broken. She did not ask permission. She put his arm over her shoulder and pulled him up. He was heavy, so heavy. But she had carried heavier things. She dragged him out of the burning ship and into her workshop. She dropped him on the metal table she used for repairs. He grunted in pain. Your armor, she said. I can fix it. Your leg too, probably. But the armor first. If the internal systems fail, they will shock your heart. You will die. He stared at her. You know, Velith armor? I know all armor, he laughed. It was not a kind laugh. Human craftsmanship. Your people could barely build ships that held air. And you think you can repair ceremonial Velith battle armor? Yuna did not answer. She picked up her tools and started working. The armor was old, very old. She could tell by the way the metal was forged, by the patterns in the gold lines. This was not standard military equipment. This was heritage, passed down through generations. Worth more than this entire station. The crack in the chest plate had damaged the power core underneath. The shielding matrix was failing. The life support systems were running on emergency power only. She worked in silence. Her hands moved fast and sure. She did not hesitate. She did not make mistakes. Kale watched her. That was his name. He told her when she asked, speaking like he was giving a gift she did not deserve. Kale of the Third House, a warrior of the High Caste. A name that was supposed to mean something. You are quiet for a human, he said. You talk too much for someone who almost died. He made a sound. Almost a laugh. Almost. Your people, he said. The fallen. I have met many of them. They are always angry. Always bitter. They curse my kind. They spit at us. But you say nothing. Yuna kept working. Cursing does not fix armor. No, it does not. He was quiet for a moment. Why do you help me? Your people hate mine. You should hate me. Yuna finished reconnecting a circuit. She looked at him with empty eyes. I need money. You have money. That is all. It was a lie. She did not know why she was helping him. Maybe because she was tired of hate. Maybe because she had learned long ago that hate was heavy, and she had carried enough heavy things. Or maybe she wanted to prove something. To herself, him. To the universe that had taken everything from her people. She worked through the night. When the sun rose on the other side of the station's windows, the armor was fixed. Better than fixed, she had improved the power flow. Strengthened the weak points. Rewritten some of the shielding codes Kale put on his armor. He moved his arms. He checked the systems. His pale eyes went wide. This is impossible. Yuna was already cleaning her tools. Payment is 3,000 credits. Transfer to the station account. He looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time. Who are you? A mechanic, she said. That is all. But as she turned away, her sleeve moved. Just a little. Just enough. Kale saw the mark on her wrist. A circle. A broken planet. 7 stars around it. His blood turned to ice. He knew that mark. Every Velith knew that mark. It was in their history books. In their nightmares. On the flags of the humans who had killed their generals and held the line when they should have fallen, the Earthborn seal, and it was burned into this woman's skin. Kale did not move. He stood like a statue made of ice. His eyes were fixed on the mark on Yuna's wrist. The broken planet. The 7 stars. The symbol that should not exist anymore.
What?
Where did you get that? His voice was different now. The arrogance was gone. Something else had taken its place. Something that sounded almost like fear. Yuna pulled her sleeve down slowly. She did not run. She did not hide. She simply looked at him with those empty eyes. It was given to me. A long time ago, Kale stepped toward her. His armor hummed with new power. The power she had given it. Do not lie to me, human. That mark. That seal. It belongs to the dead. Then maybe I am dead too. He grabbed her wrist. His fingers were cold and strong. He pulled back her sleeve and stared at the seal. It was old, faded. The lines had blurred with time and age. But it was real, burned into her skin. Not drawn, not painted, branded. The Earthborn Legion, he whispered. They were destroyed. All of them. We made sure of it. Yuna did not try to pull away. You missed some. The door behind them opened. Nari walked in, carrying a box of spare parts. She was half asleep. Her hair was messy. She did not see the tension in the room. Yuna, I found the connectors you wanted. They were in the back storage and stopped. She saw Kale holding Yuna's arm. She saw the look on his face. What is happening? Nothing, Yuna said. Her voice was calm, flat. Go back to bed, Nari. But now, Nari looked between them. She was young, but she was not stupid. She had survived too much to be stupid. She put down the box and backed out of the room slowly. When she was gone, Kale released Yuna's wrist. He stepped back. His hand went to his weapon, then dropped away. He did not know what to do. For the first time in his life, a Velith warrior did not know what to do. The Earthborn seal, he said again. Only soldiers of the Legion could carry it. Only those who fought in the last stand of Terra. I know what it means. Then you know what you are. You are a target. If the High Command learns you exist, they will send hunters. They will burn this station to nothing. They will kill everyone here. Yuna walked to her workbench. She started organizing her tools. Her hands were steady. Then do not tell them, Kale stared at her back. You do not understand. I am Velith. I should report you. I should kill you myself. Your kind murdered thousands of my people. She did not turn around. Your kind murdered billions of mine. Silence filled the room. It was heavy, thick, like smoke that would not clear. Kale sat down on a metal crate. The fight left his body. He looked tired, old. Even though his face was young and smooth, his eyes carried something ancient. The war was 100 years ago, he said quietly. I was not born yet. Neither were you. No, we were not. Yuna finally turned to look at him. But we carry it anyway. You carry your victory. I carry my loss. That is how it works. She walked to a small cabinet and pulled out a bottle. Cheap alcohol. Station brew. She poured 2 cups and held one out to him. He looked at it like it was poison. Maybe it was, but he took it. He drank it. His face twisted at the taste. Terrible, he said. Yes, Yuna drank hers in one swallow. Now, tell me what really happened to your ship. Kale's hand tightened on the cup. What do you mean? I repaired your armor. I saw the damage. The patterns were wrong. That was not battle damage. Someone sabotaged your systems from the inside. Someone on your own ship tried to kill you. His pale eyes went sharp. Dangerous. For a moment, she thought he might attack her. But then his shoulders dropped. He looked at the empty cup in his hands. You are observant. I'm a mechanic. I notice things. Kale was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was low, like he was telling secrets to the dark. I am returning from the outer colonies. I was sent there to investigate something. Missing ships. Missing soldiers. Resources disappearing. The High Command believed it was human rebels. Earthborn survivors causing trouble. Yuna felt something cold move through her chest. Was it? No. He looked at her. It was us. Velith. High-ranking officers. They are building something in secret. Gathering power, weapons, ships. I found evidence. I was bringing it back to report. He touched the repaired crack in his armor. They learned what I discovered. They tried to silence me before I could speak. Your own people. Yes. Yuna poured another drink. She did not offer him one this time. Why are you telling me this? Because you carry the Earthborn seal. Because you should be my enemy. Because you fixed my armor when you should have let me die. He stood up. He was so tall. His shadow covered half the room. And because I think you understand something that my own people have forgotten? What is that? Survival. He stepped toward her, not threatening. Not this time. The Legion fought against impossible odds. They knew they could not win. They knew they would die. But they fought anyway. For years, for their people. For their home. Yuna's jaw tightened. They all died, did they? He looked at her wrist. You are here. You carry their mark. You repair alien armor better than any Velith engineer I've ever met. You are what they left behind. She turned away from him. She did not want him to see her face. She did not want him to see what his words did to her. I am just a mechanic. No. His voice was certain now, strong. You are more than that. I have seen thousands of engineers, humans, Velith, other species. None of them could do what you did tonight. Your hands know things that should be impossible. Yuna closed her eyes. She saw fire. She always saw fire when she closed her eyes. My brother, she said quietly. He was Legion. He taught me. Before the end, your brother. What was his name? She should not tell him. She knew she should not tell him. But the words came out anyway, like they had been waiting for 100 years to escape. Dale went still. His face changed. The fear came back. Stronger than before, Taiwu, he repeated. The blade of Terra, the human who killed 12 Velith generals in one night. The monster we tell our children about so they behave. Yuna opened her eyes. He was not a monster. He was my brother. And he was the kindest person I ever knew. Kale looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Not a human. Not a mechanic. Not a member of the Fallen. Something more. Something dangerous. Something that should have been destroyed 100 years ago, but was still alive. Still breathing. Still fixing armor in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. You should run, he said. When they learn you exist, they will come for you. Yuna picked up her tools again. Her hands did not shake. Let them come, she said. I have work to do. That night, Yuna dreamed of Earth. She was 7 years old again, small, scared. The sky was red with fire. Ships fell from the clouds like burning birds. The sound was everywhere. Explosions, screams, the cracking of buildings as they died. She was in her brother's arms. Taiwu was 19, tall and strong. He wore armor that was too big for his thin body. His face was covered in smoke and blood, but his eyes were calm. Always calm. Do not look, he told her. Keep your eyes on me. But she looked anyway. She saw the city burning. She saw people running. She saw the Velith soldiers walking through the streets like ghosts, their white faces glowing in the firelight. She saw her mother fall. She saw her father try to fight. She saw them both disappear into the smoke. Taiwu! She cried. Mom and Dad, I know. His voice broke. Just for a moment. Then it was strong again. I know. But I need you to be brave now. Can you be brave for me? She nodded. She did not feel brave. She felt like she was made of glass, and the whole world was. It's trying to break her. They reached a bunker. Underground. Dark. Full of other children crying for parents who would not come. Taiwu put her down in a corner and wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. I have to go back, he said. No. She grabbed his hand. Her fingers were so small against his.
Ow.
Do not leave me, he knelt in front of her. His eyes were wet, but no tears fell. Soldiers did not cry. That was what he always said. Listen to me, little one. I have to fight. That is what I was born to do. But you, he touched her face gently. You were born for something else. Something more. I do not want something more. I want you, he smiled. It was sad and beautiful and terrible all at once. You will always have me. Right here, he pointed to her heart. And right here, took her left wrist and turned it over. This will hurt. I am sorry. The brand was hot. She screamed. The pain was white and endless. When it was done, she looked at her wrist and saw the mark. A broken planet. 7 stars. The Earthborn seal, Taiwu said. So you never forget what they took from us. So you never forget what we are. What are we? He kissed her forehead. Survivors. Always survivors. Then he stood up. He walked toward the door. She called his name. He did not turn around. He walked into the fire. He never came back. Yuna woke up with tears on her face. The station was quiet, dark. The only light came from the stars outside her small window. She sat up and touched the seal on her wrist. It was warm. It was always warm, even after all these years. She heard footsteps outside her door. Kale was standing in the hallway. He looked like he had not slept either. His armor was back on, repaired and glowing softly with power. "You were screaming," he said. "In your sleep, I was not screaming. You were." He leaned against the wall. "I heard my name, my people's name. You were dreaming of the war." Yuna got up and walked past him. She needed water. She needed air. She needed to be anywhere but in that small room with her small memories. Kale followed her. "I did research," he said, "while you slept. One accessed old records, military files, things that are supposed to be secret, and your brother Taiwu, the Blade of Terra." Kale's voice was strange, almost respectful. He held the defense line at New Seoul for 3 days, alone, after his entire unit was killed. He killed 200 Velith soldiers by himself before reinforcements arrived. Yuna poured water into a cup. Her hand shook slightly. "I know what he did. He fought in 17 major battles. He was injured 43 times. He refused to stop. The records say he was not even the strongest soldier, or the fastest, but he would not die. No matter what we threw at him, he would not die, till he did." Kale was quiet. Yuna drank her water. It tasted like metal. Everything on this station tasted like metal. "The night of the last stand," Kale continued. "The final battle for Earth. He led the attack on our command ship. 12 generals were on that ship. The leaders of the entire invasion. He killed them all in one night. With a knife and a broken rifle. Then the ship exploded." Paused. "They never found his body." "No, they did not. You believe he is dead?" Yuna turned to face him. Her eyes were hard, old, far older than 29 years. "I watched the ship burn from the bunker window. I watched it fall from the sky like a dying star. Nothing could have survived that. Nothing. But you survived. You carry his mark. His training, his skills." Kale stepped closer. "The armor you repaired. I ran more diagnostics. The modifications you made. They are based on designs I've never seen before. Old designs. Earth designs. Military designs that should have been lost when your planet burned. My brother taught me everything he knew before the end. Every night in the bunker, he would come back from fighting and teach me. He said knowledge was the only weapon that could not be taken away." Kale shook his head slowly. "You are not just a mechanic. You are a weapon yourself. A weapon your brother built. A weapon he left behind." Una's jaw tightened. "I am not a weapon. I am tired. I am broken. I fix ships for smugglers and criminals because it is the only work I can find. I hide on a station at the edge of nowhere because if I go anywhere else, someone might recognize what I am. I am not a weapon, Kale. I am a survivor. And surviving is all I have left." The station hummed around them. Somewhere, a pipe rattled. A light flickered and died. Kale looked at her for a long time. Then he did something strange. He bowed his head. Just slightly. A gesture of respect that Velith never gave to humans. "My people destroyed yours," he said. "We burned your world. We hunted your soldiers. We tried to erase you from the galaxy. And still you survived. Still you are here, fixing my armor, saving my life." He looked up. "I do not understand you, but I think I am beginning to respect you." Yuna did not know what to say. No Velith had ever spoken to her like this. No Velith had ever looked at her like she was more than dirt under their feet. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you care? I am human. I am nothing to your people, because I am tired too." His voice was heavy, full of something dark. "I have fought wars for an empire that lies to its own people. I have killed enemies who were not enemies at all. I have watched my leaders become something I do not recognize, and now they try to kill me for asking questions." He sat down on a crate. His armor clinked against the metal. "When I was young, I believed the stories. Humans were monsters. Dangerous, evil. They had to be destroyed to protect the galaxy. But then I met humans. Real humans. Not soldiers. Just people. Refugees. Workers. Families. He looked at his hands. They were not monsters. They were just like us. Afraid, trying to survive, hoping for something better. Yuna sat across from him. The anger in her chest was fading. In its place was something strange. Something she had not felt in a long time. Understanding. The war was not about protection, she said. It was about power. Earth had resources, technology, a strategic position. Your empire wanted it, yes, did not deny it. And my people were told lies so they would support the killing, so they would not ask questions. Now you are asking questions. Now I am running for my life. He smiled bitterly. Perhaps there is justice in that. They sat in silence. Two survivors from opposite sides of a war that ended before either of them was born, still carrying the weight of it, still bleeding from wounds that would never heal. Finally, Yuna spoke. What will you do now? Kale looked toward the window, toward the stars, toward the darkness between them. I do not know. I cannot go back. My own people will kill me. I have nowhere else to go. She walked to the door. Then she stopped. You can stay here, she said. For now, until you figure out what comes next. Kale looked at her with surprise. You would help me? After everything my kind did to yours? Yuna did not look back. My brother saved children during the war. Valith children. Orphans whose parents were killed by human soldiers. He brought them to safe zones. Made sure they survived. I asked him why. He said hatred was heavy, and we had enough heavy things to carry. She walked into the darkness. Behind her, Kale sat alone with his thoughts and his broken empire and the strange, impossible woman who had just changed everything he believed. 3 days passed. Then everything changed. Yuna was working on a transport ship when Nari came running into the hangar. The girl's face was pale. Her hands were shaking. Yuna, you need to see this now. They went to the control room. The station's old sensors were weak, but they could see far enough to see the 3 warships dropping out of hyperspace. Big ships. Military ships. Velith ships. Kale stood beside them. His face was stone. They found me, he said. Faster than I expected. Yuna studied the ships on the screen. They were not standard patrol vessels. These were hunter ships. Fast and deadly. Built for one purpose. To find and kill. They are not here for you, she said quietly. Kale turned to her. What do you mean? She pointed at the symbols on the ship's hulls. Those marks. I have seen them before. In the old records, those are not regular military. Those are the Silent Blades, the unit that hunted the Earthborn Legion during the war. Nari looked between them, confused and scared. I do not understand. Why would they come here? Yuna did not answer. But she knew. Kale's saboteurs had been searching his communications. They must have found his research. They knew he had discovered someone with the Earthborn seal. They were here for her. The station erupted into chaos. People ran through the hallways, grabbing belongings, rushing to ships. Smugglers and criminals knew when to run. That was how they stayed alive. Why UNA watched them go. She did not move. You should run too, Kale said. Take a ship. Disappear into the outer systems. They will not find you there. They will. They always find us. That is what they do. Yuna's voice was calm. To calm, they hunted my people for 100 years. Every time we hid, they found us. Every time we ran, they caught us. Running does not work. Then what will you do? She looked at him. Her eyes were different now. Not empty anymore. There was something burning behind them. Something old. Something dangerous. I am tired of running. She turned and walked toward the back of the station. Toward a door she had not opened in 22 years. Nari tried to follow, but Kale held her back. Where is she going? Nari demanded. What is happening? Why are those ships here? Stay here, Kale said. Stay safe. He followed Yuna. The room was small and dark. Dust covered everything. Old machines. Old tools, old memories. In the center, covered by a gray sheet, was something large, human dash-shaped. Why UNA pulled the sheet away. The armor was beautiful. Black metal with red lines running through it. Heavier than Velith armor, rougher. Made by hands that knew war. The helmet had no face. Just a smooth surface with a single red line where the eyes should be. Earthborn Legion armor. Her brother's armor. How? Kale whispered. How do you have this? Taiwu's body was never found, but the armor was. Pieces of it scattered across the crash site. I spent 15 years finding them, buying them from collectors, stealing them from museums, putting them back together. Her voice was thick. This is all I have left of him. She touched the chest plate. Her fingers traced the scars in the metal. Each scar was a story, a battle, a moment when death came close and her brother pushed it away. I never thought I would wear it, she said. I told myself I was just keeping it safe, just holding on to the past. She started removing her jumpsuit. Underneath, she wore a thin bodysuit, standard 4-armor interface. I was wrong. I was not keeping it safe. I was waiting for what? She looked at him over her shoulder. For a reason to stop hiding, the armor came alive when she put it on. The systems recognized her DNA. Her brother had programmed it that way, she realized. He had planned for this. Even back then, even knowing he would probably die. He had made sure the armor would accept her. The helmet sealed around her head. Displays flickered to life. Power levels. Weapon systems. Shield strength. Everything was old. Everything was damaged. But everything still worked. She moved her arms. The armor moved with her. Light and smooth, like a second skin. Her brother had trained her to wear armor like this. All those nights in the bunker, all those lessons between battles, he had been preparing her for this moment. Kale watched her transform. The small mechanic was gone. In her place stood something else. Something that looked like it had walked out of the old war stories. Something that made his blood run cold. I understand now, he said. Why my people fear the Earthborn. You are not soldiers. You are ghosts. The ghosts of a world we burned. And ghosts do not stay dead. Yuna picked up a weapon from the wall. An old rifle. Human design. Modified and improved over years of careful work. She checked the power cell. Full. Will you fight? She asked. Kale looked at his hands. His armor. His reflection in her dark helmet. I should call my people. Tell them I found you. That is what I should do. Will you? A long silence. The station shook as the warships moved closer. No. Yuna tilted her head, waiting. Kale walked to the wall and picked up his own weapon. His armor hummed with the power she had given it. I was sabotaged by my own kind. Betrayed by my own people. My empire has become something I do not recognize. Something that kills its own soldiers for asking questions. He turned to face her. I read the old records. The true ones. The ones they hide from the public. What we did to Earth was not war. It was slaughter. And your people fought anyway. Against everything. Against all logic. Against all hope. He stepped beside her. An alien warrior standing next to humanity's last soldier. I would like to know what that feels like. Nari appeared in the doorway. Her eyes were wide. She looked at Yuna like she was seeing a stranger. Who are you? She whispered, why UNA thought of her brother. His calm eyes, his kind smile, his voice telling her to be brave. I am what is left, she said. And today, that will have to be enough. The station alarms screamed. The first wave of Velith hunters was landing. Soldiers in white armor, carrying weapons that could cut through steel. They moved in perfect formation. Killing machines built to destroy the last humans. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Yuna walked toward the hangar. Kale walked beside her. Behind them, Nari hid in the control room, watching through the cameras. The first hunters came through the main door. 10 of them. Fast and silent. Yuna moved faster. She was among them before they could react. Her rifle fired. At 1 shot. 2 shots. 3 bodies fell. Her brother had taught her to shoot before she could read. He had made her practice until her hands knew the weapon better than her own heartbeat. The hunters spread out. They tried to surround her. She did not let them. She was not fighting like a soldier. She was fighting like a storm, moving and striking and disappearing before they could aim. The armor gave her speed. The armor gave her strength. But the skill was her own. Taiwu's gift. His last lesson, Kale fought beside her. He was slower, less precise, but he was strong. His plasma blade cut through hunter armor like paper. He fought with anger and confusion, and something that might have been hope. More hunters came. More hunters fell. Yuna did not count. She did not think. She just moved. By the time the first wave was finished, 26 Velith soldiers lay on the floor. The hangar was filled with smoke and silence. Yuna stood in the center of the destruction. Her armor was scratched. Her breathing was heavy, but she was alive. She was alive. And for the first time in 22 years, she felt like herself. The smoke cleared slowly. Yuna stood among the fallen, her brother's armor stained with the dust of battle. The red lines glowed softly in the dim light. Around her, 26 Velith soldiers would never move again. Her hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else, something she had buried so deep she had forgotten it existed. She was alive. She had fought, and she had won. Kale walked toward her, stepping over bodies. His armor was damaged. A deep cut ran across his shoulder plate. Blue blood dripped from a wound on his arm. "The warships," he said. "They are retreating." Yuna looked up through the broken ceiling of the hangar. Through the smoke and fire, she could see the 3 hunter ships pulling back, moving away from the station, running.
"Ow."
"They are scared," she said. It was not a question. They should be. Kale's voice was heavy with something she could not name. They sent their best soldiers. Silent blades. Hunters who have never failed. And one human destroyed them in minutes. 2. She looked at him. 2 humans and 1 Velith. He almost smiled. 1 Velith, who has made himself an enemy of his own empire. "Do you regret it?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he shook his head. "No. For the first time in years, I feel like I am doing something right." The station was quiet now. Most of the residents had fled. Only a few ships remained in the secondary hangar. The lights flickered. The walls groaned. So much damage. It would take months to repair. Nara emerged from the control room. She walked slowly, carefully, like she was approaching wild animals. Her eyes moved from the fallen soldiers to Yuna's armored form. "I do not understand," she said. Her voice was small. "I do not understand any of this. Who are you? What is the Earthborn Legion? Why did they come for you?" Yuna removed her helmet. Her face was covered in sweat. Her eyes were tired and old. But there was something new in them too. A fire that had been cold for too long. "How much do you know about Earth?" she asked. Earth was the human homeworld. It was destroyed 100 years ago. Before the war, Nari recited the words like a lesson learned in school. The Velith say humans attacked first. That the war was our fault. That is what they say. Yuna sat down on a pile of broken metal. "It is not what happened," she told the story. The real story. The one that had been hidden and buried and forgotten? Earth did not start the war. Earth was peaceful, rich in resources, full of life. The Velith Empire wanted those resources. They invented a threat that did not exist. They convinced their people that humans were dangerous. And then they came with fire. The war lasted 5 years. Humans fought back with everything they had. But the Velith were stronger, more advanced. They had been building weapons for centuries. Humans had been building gardens. When the last cities were burning, a group of soldiers formed the Earthborn Legion. They were not the strongest or the smartest, but they refused to surrender. They refused to let humanity die in silence. They fought for 3 more years. Impossible battles. Impossible victories. They killed generals and destroyed command ships and gave the refugees time to escape. Time to scatter across the galaxy. Time to hide. And then one night they launched a final attack. A suicide mission against the Velith leadership. They knew they would not survive. They did it anyway. The Velith won. Earth burned to nothing. The Legion died. But humanity survived. Scattered, hidden, broken but alive. The Earthborn seal, Una said, touching her wrist, was given to the soldiers of the Legion, so they would always remember what they were fighting for, so they would never forget. Nari looked at the mark on Una's wrist. Then she looked at the armor, the weapon, the bodies on the floor. You are one of them. Oh, my brother was one of them. He died in the final battle. I was just a child. But he trained me. He taught me everything he knew. He gave me his armor, his seal, his mission. What mission? Una looked toward the window. The warships were gone now, but she knew they would be back. They would tell the High Command what they saw. They would send more hunters, bigger ships, more soldiers, and word would spread. Through the military. Through the colonies. Through the scattered remains of humanity hiding in every corner of the galaxy. The Earthborn are not dead. One remains. To survive, Una said. To remember. To make sure they never forget that they could not destroy us completely.
Ari was quiet for a long time.
Then she did something Una did not expect. She straightened her back. She lifted her chin. And she looked at Una with eyes that were no longer afraid. Teach me, she said. Whatever your brother taught you, teach me too. Una stared at her. You do not know what you are asking. This is not a game. This is not an adventure. If you carry this weight, it will change you. It will hurt you. It will follow you forever. I know. Nari's voice was steady. I have been hiding my whole life. Running. Pretending I am nothing. Pretending humans are nothing. She looked at the seal on Una's wrist. I do not want to pretend anymore. For the first time in years, Una felt something warm in her chest. Hope. Small and fragile. But real, we will see, she said. First, we need to leave this station. Kale stepped forward. I can help with that. My ship is damaged, but repairable. And I know places where we can hide. Places my people have forgotten about. Why would you help us? He looked at the bodies on the floor. His people. His former brothers, because the Velith I knew are gone. The Empire has become something corrupt. Something that eats itself. He met her eyes. And because I believe in what your brother believed, that survival matters. That some things are worth fighting for. Una nodded slowly. An alliance she never expected. A path she never planned to walk. But maybe that was how it was supposed to be. Her brother had not planned to become a legend. He had just done what needed to be done. One step at a time. One fight at a time. They gathered what they could carry. Weapons. Supplies. Tools. Una took one last look at her workshop. 6 years of her life. Her hiding place. Her grave, she would not miss it. The ship was small, but fast. Kale piloted while Una sat in the back with Nari. The stars stretched around them, cold and endless. Where will we go? Nari asked. Una thought about the question. There were scattered colonies. Hidden stations. Places where humans lived in shadows, afraid to speak their own names. Places where the old stories were whispered in the dark. Everywhere, she said. We will go everywhere. Looking for what? Others? Una touched the seal on her wrist. It was warm. Warmer than it had been in years. There have to be more survivors, descendants, people who carry the mark, people who remember. And if we find them... Una looked out the window at the passing stars. Somewhere out there, the Velith were gathering, planning, preparing to hunt her down. They would send armies. They would burn worlds. They would do whatever it took to destroy the last ember of the Earthborn. But they had tried that before. 100 years ago, they burned a planet and killed billions and believed they had one. They were wrong. Earth is gone, Una said quietly. Our home is ash. Our people are scattered. But the Earthborn are not dead. We are still here. Still alive? Still fighting. She stood up and walked to the front of the ship. Through the window she could see a new system ahead. New planets. New possibilities. They thought they destroyed us. They were wrong. We are just getting started. Ari watched her with wide eyes. Kale smiled grimly as he adjusted their course. Behind them, the stars held their breath. The galaxy waited. A war that ended 100 years ago was about to begin again. And this time, humanity would not be alone. Una touched the seal one last time. She thought of her brother. His calm eyes, his kind smile, his voice telling her to be brave. I am ready now, she whispered. I will carry what you left behind. I will find the others. I will make them remember. The ship jumped to Lomstav. The universe would never be the same.